A Course in Miracles, Questions and Answers. What does the belief in sin create? Based on A Course in Miracles teachings. Meditation context. Keeping your attention on or in your body will keep you in the present moment. All guilt, regret, resentment, and anger is based on the past. All worry, anxiety, and fear is centered on some point in the future. In the present moment, none of that fear-based negativity exists. The Course in Miracles text is 1,754 pages long, and the main premise is nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Each of my meditation videos will all have from 7 to 10 A Course in Miracles quotations, and after each quotation I will have a short meditation. Here is the first Course in Miracles quotation. Quotation. What is sin? Sin is insanity. It is the means by which the mind is driven mad and seeks to let illusions take the place of truth. And being mad, it sees illusions where the truth should be and where it really is. A Course in Miracles. We're going to use the 4-7-8 method. The 4-7-8 breathing technique involves breathing in for 4 seconds, holding the breath for 7 seconds, and then exhaling for 8 seconds. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation. Deny your own identity and you assail the universe alone without a friend, a tiny particle of dust against the legions of your enemies. Deny your own identity and look on evil, sin, and death, and watch despair snatch from your fingers every scrap of hope. A Course in Miracles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation. Sin is the home of all illusions, which but stand for things imagined, issuing from thoughts that are untrue. A madman's dreams are frightening, and sin appears indeed to terrify. And yet what sin perceives is but a childish game. A Course in Miracles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation. When anything seems to you to be a source of fear, when any situation strikes you with terror and makes your body tremble and the cold sweat of fear comes over it, remember it is always for one reason. The ego has perceived it as a symbol of fear, a sign of sin and death. A Course in Miracles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation. The eyes of Christ look on a world forgiven. In his sight are all its sins forgiven, for he sees no sin in anything he looks upon. Now let his true perception come to me, that I may waken from the dream of sin and look within upon my sinlessness. Of course, in miracles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation. The belief in sin is necessarily based on the firm conviction that minds, not bodies, can attack, and thus the mind is guilty and will forever so remain unless a mind not part of it can give it absolution. Of course, in miracles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation. Belief in sin arouses fear, and like its cause is looking forward, looking back, but overlooking what is here and now. Of course, in miracles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation. Fear is deception. It attests that you have seen yourself as you could never be, and therefore look upon a world which is impossible. Not one thing in this world is true. It does not matter what the form in which it may appear. It witnesses but to your own illusions of yourself. Of course, in miracles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. Quotation. You who are beloved of him are no illusion, being as true and holy as himself. The stillness of your certainty of him and of yourself is home to both of you, who dwell as one and not apart. Open the door of his most holy home, and let forgiveness sweep away all trace of the belief in sin that keeps God homeless. Of course, in miracles. In breath. Hold. Out breath. The question posed at the beginning of this meditation was, what does the belief in sin create? And the quotations that best elaborate on this will be shown here now. The first text that I highlighted in green says, sin is insanity. It is the means by which the mind is driven mad and seeks to let illusions take the place of truth. And what that appears to be saying is, illusions can take the place of truth when one turns to sin, looks to find others guilty, bad, deserving of punishment, sinful. Again, the question posed at the beginning of this meditation was, what does the belief in sin create? And another quotation that best elaborates on this is shown here now. The text that I highlighted in green says, "Sin is the home of all illusions, which but stand for things imagined, issuing from thoughts that are untrue." And what that appears to be saying is, untrue thoughts around sin create illusions that stand for the untrue thoughts that were imagined. The question posed at the beginning of this meditation was, what does the belief in sin create? And the final quotation I have that best elaborates on this is shown here now. The text that I highlighted in green says, "Belief in sin arouses fear." That appears to imply that it might make sense to question the idea of sin. As a side note, it is known that fear limits, paralyzes, sabotages, and attracts what is feared. So fear is something to be avoided.